AITA for telling my husband I feel uncomfortable with the level of intimacy between him and his female best friend. Plus 3 updates. I, 32F, have been married to my husband Jake, 34M, for almost 7 years. We have 2 kids together, ages 5 and 2. For the most part, Jake is an amazing partner and father. He's patient, funny, pulls his weight with the kids, and we have a solid relationship. But there's one thing that's been eating at me for years, and I finally snapped about it last weekend. Now I'm questioning whether I crossed a line or if my feelings are justified. Jake has a best friend, Hannah, 33F. They've known each other since college. They never dated, according to both of them, but they've always been extremely close. Like, talk every day, know every detail of each other's lives close. At first, I thought it was sweet. I don't want to be the kind of partner who tells someone to drop their friends. I actually liked Hannah when we first met. She's smart, funny, and was very welcoming to me. But over the years, I started noticing things that, honestly, would make anyone in my shoes uncomfortable. For example, when Jake and I first moved in together, I'd wake up sometimes at 6 a.m. to find him already on the phone with Hannah, laughing and chatting like it was the middle of the day. He'd say it was because she was going through something and needed to talk. But it happened a lot. Hannah knows things about our relationship that I never told her. I only realized this when she made a joke once about how Jake likes his back rubbed a certain way during intimacy. It wasn't graphic, but still, why does she know that? Jake swore he never told her details about our sex life, but the way she said it made me wonder. They have little routines together. Every Friday, he calls her on his commute home, without fail. On her birthday, he goes all out, flowers, a handwritten card, organizing group dinners. For mine, he's sweet too, but sometimes I can't help noticing the effort difference. Once, when I was sick after having our second baby, he stayed up late texting her. He said it was just catching up, but I felt like I was invisible in my own house while I was literally bleeding and exhausted. The moment that really pushed me was last weekend. We were at a barbecue with friends. Hannah came, of course, and at one point Jake and Hannah were sitting off to the side, shoulder to shoulder, whispering and laughing. When I walked over, Hannah lightly touched his knee and leaned her head on his shoulder. Jake didn't pull away. It looked intimate. Not full-on romantic, but way past normal best friend boundaries in my mind. A few people even looked over at me, like they noticed it too. That night, I told Jake how I felt. I said it makes me uncomfortable that their closeness sometimes feels like emotional cheating, or at least disrespectful to our marriage. He got defensive immediately. Said I was jealous of something that's purely platonic and that Hannah has been there for him longer than anyone. He accused me of trying to isolate him from his best friend. I told him I'm not asking him to cut her off, just to set some boundaries that make me feel secure as his wife. Now things are icy between us. He says I embarrassed him by policing his friendships. Hannah apparently knows I said something because she texted me yesterday saying she never wanted to come between us, but also Jake deserves to have friendships without guilt. That honestly felt like a dig. I feel torn. On one hand, I know I'm not crazy for noticing their closeness. If genders were reversed, I think most people would side-eye it. On the other hand, I don't want to be the insecure wife who ruins her husband's oldest friendship. I love Jake and want to trust him, but when I see him light up around Hannah in a way he doesn't with me anymore, it hurts. So, Reddit. AITA for asking my husband to put some boundaries in place with his female best friend? Top comments. NTA, you're not crazy. Emotional intimacy can absolutely cross boundaries, even without physical cheating. The knee touch, head on shoulder moment would make anyone feel off. Ask yourself, would he be okay if you had a male friend doing the same? Doubt it. ESH Jake for dismissing your feelings, Hannah for crossing lines, and you for waiting years before bringing it up clearly. Boundaries in marriage aren't jealousy, they're respect. You need a serious sit-down, maybe with a counselor. AITA, I'll be the minority here. You're projecting. Some people are just very physically affectionate with friends. If you can't trust your husband after 7 years, the problem isn't Hannah, it's the marriage foundation. NTA, if she's just a friend, why does she know more about your husband's daily thoughts than you do? Why is she getting effort that you're not? You're not asking him to drop her, you're asking for basic respect. Update number 1. Wow, I didn't expect this post to blow up the way it did. I honestly thought I'd get maybe 20 comments tops, and instead I've been sitting here reading through hundreds. I didn't respond to many because it felt weird trying to debate strangers on the internet, but I did read everything. The general consensus seems to be complicated. A lot of you were gentle but blunt. This is a messy situation, even if it works for us in the moment. Some people said I'm being selfish by holding on to intimacy while knowing there's no real long-term future. Others said it's okay to lean on each other during a rough transition as long as we're honest. I won't lie, it stung to read some of the harsher "you're stringing him along" takes, but I get where people are coming from. So, what's happened since then? After posting, I sat down with my ex and told him about how conflicted I've been. I didn't tell him about Reddit, lol, no way, but I basically admitted that while I love the closeness, I don't want us to slip back into old patterns and confuse the kids. He agreed, surprisingly quickly, and we've decided to keep the spicy sleepovers off the table for now. We still spend time together when we swap the kids, but we're drawing firmer boundaries. Speaking of kids, we've started a more structured co-parenting schedule. Before, it was kind of loose, lots of "can you grab them tonight?" But now it's more 50-50 on paper. The kids are adjusting better than I thought they would. Our daughter actually said, "It's like I get two homes now," in this really upbeat way, which melted me. The backlash, though. Word somehow got around to a couple of mutual friends that we'd been still hooking up. Thanks small town grapevine, one friend made a snide comment about how I'm keeping him on the leash. That hurt, because they don't see the full picture of us actually being supportive co-parents. I hate feeling judged when I'm just trying to figure things out. Anyway, right now it feels like the healthiest step is to keep the intimacy paused and focus on making this transition as stable as possible for the kids. I don't know if we'll ever go back there. Part of me hopes maybe someday, but part of me also knows that ship might have sailed. Thanks for the tough love and kind words. It really helped me get a reality check without feeling completely attacked. Update number 2. So, here's where I need perspective. For the past few months, my husband has been distant in the bedroom. We used to have a good sex life, not perfect, but enough that I felt connected. Lately, he either avoids me or makes excuses. Sometimes he'll roll over before I can even start talking about it. When I press him, he just says he's tired, stressed, or not in the mood. At first, I thought maybe it was just a rough patch. But then I started noticing little things. He takes his phone into the bathroom for long showers. He suddenly started working later and later, which isn't that strange for his job, but it became routine. And when I'd ask him if something's wrong, he'd get defensive and tell me I was overthinking. Meanwhile, the kids are small, and I feel invisible most days. I cook, clean, keep the house running, and when I try to initiate intimacy, I feel brushed off. It made me feel like a roommate, not a wife. Then came the night that messed with my head. After weeks of rejection, he finally said yes when I initiated. But during sex, he wouldn't really look at me. He was there, but not present. It felt mechanical. Like he was picturing someone else. When I tried to talk afterward, he just said I was imagining things and rolled over. Here's the part that really broke me. A couple days later, I found a message on his phone. Yes, I snooped, not proud. It wasn't explicit, but it was flirty with a coworker. Lots of emojis, lots of haha you get me more than anyone type stuff. Nothing sexual, but the kind of messages you don't send if you're fully invested in your marriage. I confronted him. He blew up, said I invaded his privacy, and that I was blowing things out of proportion. He insisted it was just work banter and I was crazy for thinking otherwise. But since then, the intimacy has gotten even colder. I'm torn because on one hand, I know snooping was wrong. On the other, I don't think I pulled this insecurity out of nowhere. My gut tells me something is off. So here's my question to Reddit. Am I the asshole for pushing my husband about his lack of intimacy and snooping on his phone, or is he the one in the wrong for crossing emotional boundaries with a coworker and shutting me out? Update 3, final update. Hi again, everyone. I wasn't sure I'd ever write this, but your comments and messages honestly pushed me toward clarity, so I wanted to close the loop. Since my last update, a lot has changed. After I confronted my husband again, this time with zero ambiguity, he admitted that what was happening wasn't innocent affection. He said it started as comfort during grief, but he crossed lines and knew it. Hearing him finally say it out loud felt like both a knife and a release. For months, I thought I was losing my mind, that maybe I was overreacting. I wasn't. We've decided to separate. I moved into my sister's house with the kids for now. They know something is happening, but we agreed to frame it as mom and dad need space to think. The boys seem relieved, honestly. They told me they were uncomfortable with how much time their dad and aunt spent together but didn't know how to say it. That gutted me. As for my Sil, she has doubled down on we're just helping each other heal, but I've pulled back from her completely. Family members are now divided, some support me, some think I'm overblowing grief. I can live with that. What I can't live with is being gaslit in my own home. Right now, I feel strangely calm. I'm sad, yes, but I'm also done doubting myself. My husband says he wants to go to therapy to prove he can change, but that's his journey now, not mine. So, I have a lawyer. I have a support system, my sister is a rock star. I have boundaries. And I'm not the villain in this story, no matter how hard they tried to make me feel like I was. Thank you, Reddit, for being the first place I didn't feel crazy for naming what was happening. Top comments on Update 3. u/SteelCutRuth, op, you sound stronger already. You're protecting your kids from growing up in a gaslit mess. That's the best outcome you could give them. u/Casserola Queen, I'm so sorry, but proud of you. Let your soon-to-be ex go heal with his sister all he wants. You deserve someone who doesn't make you feel insane. u/Honest but gentle, family division is painful, but those who minimize this never had your best interest at heart. Blood doesn't excuse betrayal. u/Ida_mod_throwaway, just here to say, you were right to trust your instincts.